Good evening from New York. As 2009 draws to a close, the year will largely be remembered in the history books for the momentous inauguration of President Obama. The historians, however, will likely forget the events triggered by the president's swearing in, but comedians of the world and Countdown, certainly the residents of Illinois as well, will not. Barack Obama's win against John McCain marked the first time in nearly half a century a sitting United States senator had been promoted into the Oval Office by voters. This obviously left a vacancy in the Senate. The state of Illinois would need a new senator. According to state law, the power to appoint the replacement rested solely in the hands of Governor Blagojevich. Where you would have seen an opportunity to influence events and shape policy, he saw cash, do-re-mi. And that is lucky for us, because B-Rod's alleged quest to exploit picking a senator led to not just his impeachment and resignation, but as you will see, he was news conference gold. Behold now our first Countdown favorite of 2009. Breaking news, we now know why Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich has conducted 20 interviews over the past few days. It's a warm-up act for his impeachment trial, the very trial he said he would not attend so he could do all the interviews.
There was a cowboy who was charged with stealing a horse in town, and some of the other cowboys, especially the guy whose horse was stolen, were very unhappy with that guy. And one of the cowboys said, "Let's hang him." And the other cowboy said, "Hold on, before we hang him, let's first give him a fair trial. Then we'll hang him."
Will reflect that the governor has failed to appear or to answer the article of impeachment.
Governor Blagojevich remains defiant. Governor Rod Blagojevich. Governor Blagojevich, good morning. Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. As I'm in California, I will talk to you first. Thank you for being here. It's nice of you to take the time.
Governor, open the window. Open the window.
Springfield, Illinois. Hello.
Are you asking me this now? Am I on TV?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I said I'm not resigning. You're funny.
There's been discussions of TV movies, of stuff that's being made. Who would play you? Who would you want to play you?
Oh, is that right? Have there been?
Yes, there have been some discussions. I mean, would you?
I wouldn't mind playing myself. I could probably use the job.
The most cynical behavior in all this, the most appalling, is the fact that Governor Blagojevich tried to sell the appointment to the Senate seat.
I got this thing and it's bleeping golden. Hold up that Cubs them.
You and your wife are potty mouths.
F him. For nothing, F him.
I was raised in a big city in a tough neighborhood. We had gangs in the neighborhood I grew up in. And I'll point out, when some of that language was used, there were no women on the phone. If that was said, that's subject to many interpretations.
You can't tell me what the two words bleeping golden meant.
Them. Put that in context for me.
Well, again, that could be interpreted in a whole variety of ways.
What could be kosher to exchange for a Senate seat?
Well, how about helping us pass health care on a jobs bill? And I consider myself the anti-Nixon. I'm the opposite of Richard Nixon, who was always trying to protect his tapes.
Wait a minute, he does a fabulous Nixon impression. Do it for us.
Who said that?
Somebody told me. Come on.
Well, no.
Just say I am not a crook. Do it.
I'm not going to say that. This is like an old Frank Capra movie, whether it's Jimmy Stewart or Gary Cooper. I see myself that way. In those movies, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
I'll tell you what I want, sir. I want a chance to talk to people who believe me.
And I view myself as Jimmy Stewart and Gary Cooper, and I know that's going to be, met with mockery.
Let him speak!
But that's how I see it. No, I think the fix is in. The fix is in. The fix is in. The fix is in. I think the fix is in. The fix is in the state Senate. The fix is in. I believe the fix is in, because the fix is in.
Who were you thinking of for Senate?
Do you have any suggestions on who I might have been thinking about? What have you heard?
I've heard Oprah.
That is true. Oprah was one of the many people we thought about. Oprah Winfrey, for example. And the question is, how do you suggest something like that so it doesn't look like it's just a gimmick to get cheap publicity at her expense?
I think I could be senator too. I'm just not interested.
That wasn't my idea.
I said cuckoo once. I'll say it again. Cuckoo.
The silence of political allies who, before all this came down, which we call our personal Pearl Harbor Day. And I had a whole bunch of thoughts. Of course, my children and my wife. And then I thought about Mandela, Dr. King, Gandhi. I'm not the first person this has happened to. All you got to do is read the Bible, and parts of the Bible that's filled with stories like this. In terms of what we tell our kids, it's a very difficult time for our family. And our little girls, my wife and I, we got them a little puppy. during the Christmas holidays. I think everybody should do what they think is right, and anybody who wants to say anything nice about me, that'd be kind of nice, because there hasn't been a lot said that's been nice.
I'll buy you dinner.
Is that ethical? You know, there's an old gospel song, "One Day at a Time, Sweet Jesus." When you're something like this, you take one day at a time. And I have this delusion, which I know is a delusion, that I'll wake up sometime like tomorrow morning, and then maybe they'll realize there's just one big misunderstanding here. That's likely not to happen.
Why exactly are you here? Honest to God. What?
Well, you know, I've been wanting to be on your show in the worst way for the longest time.
Well, you're on in the worst way, believe me.
He does a fabulous Nixon impression. Do it for us.
Who said that?
Somebody told me. Come on.
Well,
just say I am not a crook. Do it.
I'm not going to say that.
Oh, my goodness. Open the window, Governor. You go ahead and start 2 o'clock interview.
Yesterday, Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich was interviewed by Geraldo Rivera. Yep. Yeah, they billed it as an interview with the most hated man in America and Rod Blagojevich.
He looks like your wife's ex-husband, is what he looks like an insurance salesman that keeps calling you captain.
We can conceivably bring in 15 angels and 20 saints led by Mother Teresa to come in and testify. Character announcement.
I believe we have footage of the governor showing up to his impeachment trial. Jimmy, there he is, walking from his car with his attorney. Just look how vicious the press is to this poor man.
How can you throw a governor out of office when the rules don't even require that you prove up elements of criminal allegations? And more than that, how can you throw a governor out of office who is...
He's fine. He landed on his hair, so he's going to be okay.
Not only was he convicted, his hairdresser was given the death penalty.
The only bright side for Blagojevich, he has been offered a job as the before picture at Supercuts.
It is one headache after another for this Blagojevich. It turns out next month his hair goes digital.
And then I thought about Mandela, Dr. King, Gandhi, and try to put some perspective in all of this.
Breaking news, and now he belongs to the ages. Rod Blagojevich has been removed from office by unanimous vote of the Illinois State Senate and is no longer the governor of Illinois. Our fourth story on the Countdown tonight. And Pat Quinn, the state's lieutenant governor just hours ago, is now the governor of Illinois. Mr. Blagojevich, having been impeached and then tried, and despite a closing argument before the state Senate, is now former Governor Blagojevich, expelled from the office which he refused to resign. The vote in the state Senate to remove him passed 59 to nothing. Only a two-thirds supermajority, 40 votes, was required, and effective immediately after the vote was officially recorded, Blagojevich was no longer governor. A second vote to disqualify him from holding future office in the state of Illinois also passed 59 to 0. No third vote was taken on whether or not to bar him from doing any more TV interviews. The governor's impeachment trial dealt with multiple accusations of wrongdoing, most notably that Blagojevich tried to sell the Senate seat vacated by then-President-elect Barack Obama. It is the first time in 21 years that any governor in the U.S. has been removed from office. The last one was Governor Evan Meacham of Arizona in 1988. After a flurry of interviews in which he talked to just about everybody but the Illinois State Senate, Mr. Blagojevich decided to make an appeal before that body. His closing argument, it lasted about 45 minutes. Far shorter, but far more compelling and weird was what he had to say only minutes ago this evening outside his home in Chicago. A news conference that was vintage Blagojevich and then some. Seriously, good golly, why didn't you sell tickets?